Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm jumping on here and I wanted to do my first official Tech Tuesday. How can I help you figure out some of these tech challenges that are driving you crazy? So I had to modify it just a little bit. I did have a question that was posted. How can you sync or connect your Outlook calendar to your Google Calendar so that you only have one calendar to worry about? I'm going to talk about that. I couldn't actually do the demo because I don't have the subscription plan of Microsoft Office, which I'll talk about that in just a second. So if you're watching this live, make sure that you give StreamYard. You just have to click on that button once and give StreamYard permission so that I can see your name. Because if not, it just says anonymous. All right, so let's first of all just talk about calendars and your business. And this whole Facebook community is all about how to make your business streamlined so that you can truly scale your business. And the number one thing that you need is a calendar system that you share with people. So instead of playing the phone tag or the direct messenger tag, you need a calendar that you can just send people your link and say, let's schedule a time. Super important to have that in your business, and especially if you're just starting out. If you're just starting out and you're using maybe a kind of a free platform for your funnels and how you're marketing, there's Calendly, there's Acuity, there's a bunch of calendars out there that have free plans that are very good. The key is make sure that you have some calendar system in place built into your funnel systems that you can share that. It makes you look that much more professional, like you're a real business, and it just makes your life so much easier. I am going to dig in just a little bit about Google Calendar, why I love it so much. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that at heart, I really am a Microsoft gal. I kind of grew up with the Microsoft products. And maybe for those more mature people out there that grew up with Microsoft products, Microsoft just has a huge, robust, very deep applications as far as what they can do. So most of the applications I use are Microsoft Office applications. I love my Outlook. But for calendar, I have to say I use Google Calendar. I just like it better. And for me, anyway, the Google interface, I'll show you, it's very streamlined. There's a lot of fun little things you can do with Google Calendar, and it integrates so nicely with all of these other applications that you're going to be playing with, especially your funnels when you start setting those up. Some people still maybe are kind of in both worlds. So the question that was posed to me was if they have their Outlook calendar and they want to integrate it. So I'm going to talk about that briefly. I can't demonstrate it because I don't have the correct back-end pieces, but I'll talk about that. Why would somebody want to use Outlook Calendar? If you are a Microsoft person and you're using Outlook for your email, it works very nicely. So you could just take an email and dump it into your calendar. All the details are there. So there's a lot of reasons, if you're a Microsoft person, that you're hanging on to using the calendar system through Microsoft. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you're watching, let me know if it makes sense to you. So what I want to do is let me share my screen. And I will just jump in to calendars here. First, let me talk about the calendars, and then I'm going to talk about two of my favorite applications and how I integrate my calendar. First of all, I live by my calendar. If things are not in my calendar, then it's not a reality. And even projects that I'm working on, I put those in my calendar so that the work gets done. I have a whole, I actually have an online course, which I need to resurrect it and start offering it again, about how to be the productivity pack, I think, for entrepreneurs is what I called it. All kinds of great calendar hacks in there to help you be productive. But that's for another time. I just want to show you, though, one thing that I love about Google Calendar. I don't know if you can see it over here on the side. You can add multiple time zones. So I work with a lot of people in the United Kingdom and the Philippines, Los Angeles. So it's nice to be able to look and see what time is it. So if I'm just looking at my calendar and trying to figure out, okay, when would be the best time to reach people, over in the United Kingdom. Right now, it's almost 6 o'clock at night. It's almost 1 o'clock here, and so forth. So I love this, and I'll show you how you can do that, how you can set those up. Another thing that I want to mention is you can have multiple calendars. You can have a primary calendar. So here you'll notice that I have all of these other calendars. The primary calendar, the Debbie Dybovic or Debbie Starr Dybovic, that's the calendar that I live off of. But if you have a team, or if you wanted to use a calendar for planning, you could create another calendar here. So I'm just going to click on the social media, and I'm going to turn off my calendar. Now, I'm not using this currently right now, but the idea behind this is if you're working with a team, or even if you wanted to plan out your social media, I'm going to come up here to the top right. Instead of week, I'm going to say month. And what would be nice is on this calendar, I could start blocking out. So maybe I'm just going to add Tech Tuesday Facebook Lives. And I could set this so that it repeats instead of does not repeat weekly on Tuesday. I could find a time. Anyway, you see where I'm going here, right? So I'm just going to save that. And then it just fills this all the way through. So using these calendars like as a planning calendar is a great way that you could do this. If you're working with a team, for instance, you could also do this with teamwork so that you know who's working on what project. Now, if I come back over here to the right, to the left, and I click back on to my calendar, my main calendar, now you'll notice that this other event, although it's showing up as free, but it's just a reminder, free in the sense that it's not actually blocking off time on my calendar, but it's just showing up so I could see as a reminder when to do my Tuesday Tech Lives. If I didn't want to see that anymore, I can just come back over here on the left and turn that off, and now it's off. Okay, so I love having these multiple calendars. I think it's great, especially if you are doing some planning or anything like that. So let me know how you are using, if you're using multiple calendars, if that's working for you. Somebody did post in here a question, how do I get the different colors? So I just clicked on a spot, and I'm just going to type my test meeting here. Down here, kind of in the middle, is where you can select colors. So I kind of have a system for colors. I don't always stick with it. So, but it's a great thing to do. So you might do all of your client meetings in green, for instance. You might do all of your projects you're working on in purple. Okay. You might schedule all of your maybe meetings, I don't know, like training meetings, things like that, in yellow. All right. So you can change those colors however you want. It works best if you have some kind of a system. so that it, will prompt you when you look at it. One other thing that I'm going to mention here is, of course, you can always set your calendar to show as free, or of course show that you're busy. So obviously, if this was a real event or a real meeting, I would make sure that I set it as busy, because I'm going to show you when I hop into the funnels, you don't want to be overbooking yourself. Let me just make another note here too. Let me just say, let me change this. I'm going to leave test so I know to delete it. Test project, and maybe this project, I don't know, it's going to go all day or half a day or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and set this as busy, and I'm going to set it as purple here. All right. So this is on June 17th, just so that I can remember where it is. And then right there, there's my test project. I think this came in as an all-day event, and so that's why it's showing up as a bar across instead of just the little dot. So I'm in the month view here, and so you'll notice the little colored dots. So again, I have halfway of a system, if I remember to use it, so that when I look at my calendar, I know what's coming up. All right. So I'm not going to belabor too much, because I could teach literally an all-day class on how to maximize your Google Calendar. But I just wanted to show you a couple of reasons of why I like Google Calendars and why I use it. One other thing I'm going to mention, if you come up here to the top where you get that little gear, the settings menu, if you click on that and go to settings, this is where you can change all of your settings. You can set your time zone, your primary time zone, secondary time zone. This is where you can also set your world clock. So remember, over to the side, I had the different locations that I'm interacting with, all the time. You can add that time zone there, and then it's going to show up. There's a bunch of other things that you can set here, and you just keep scrolling down, and there's just all kinds of things. Okay, so that's everything there. And then down here under settings for my calendars, again, if you have multiple calendars, then you could write a description in case somebody else is using that. This one here, I'm not showing any, not that people would schedule on this calendar, but if they did, it's not showing any invitations. There's, again, just all kinds of settings that you can change here, and how you can integrate all of those calendars, right? Then coming back up to the top, underneath general, there's something called add calendar. This is, I can only take you halfway. If you have the Outlook calendar and you're on the paid 365 subscription plan on Outlook, what you want to do is grab the, I think they call it the ISC link. And if you need directions, I have printed out directions that I can share with you, but you grab that link off of Outlook, and then you come here and you click on from URL, and then you paste that in, and then it will make that calendar accessible. Because again, the whole idea when you're using calendars is you don't want to be double booked, right? So that's the idea. Again, I live by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it's not real. I use my calendar also as time blocking. So when I'm working on projects, I block off time on my calendar so that nobody else can sneak in on my calendar. I just make sure that I keep my calendar, the times that I'm working, block it off, and there's never an issue. Now, I'm going to hop over to, I'm just going to quickly, and I'll do a separate training video on each one of these, but I'm going to hop over to FGFunnels. And if you followed me along before, you'll know that the two main funnel systems that I use is FGFunnels and Kartra. So depending on which platform works best for you, I can certainly help you with those. But on FGFunnels, if you go down to the very bottom to settings, and then up here near the top, you click on calendars, and then you can set up different types of calendars. So I have, like I call it my coffee chat calendar, a link that I send out. It doesn't cost anything. And so I just send that link out and people can connect with it. I also have a calendar that is a paid calendar. So when I send that link out, it actually connects people to the payment gateway first. So when they're scheduling like a VIP session, it takes them to the payment gateway first, and then it takes them to the calendar. All right. Hope that makes sense. Let me get on the right account here. Okay. Let me see. What else was I going to say? So you can see in my calendars, I have several calendars here. And then once I get that calendar set up, I can just share that link. My computer's a little slow here. And then people can schedule. And again, they won't be able to schedule willy-nilly. They can only schedule based on the open times I have on my Google Calendar. Plus, within Funnel Gorgeous, when I'm setting up my calendar, I have a way of selecting when my day starts, what my starting time is. I have mine set for 9 o'clock. I don't like any surprise appointments at 8 o'clock and so forth. Okay. And again, I'm going to do a complete training on this in the future, but the important thing is connect your calendar to Google Calendar, if that's what you're using, and use this link so that instead of playing back and forth, you just send your link and people find an appropriate time. Likewise, on the Kartra calendar, very similar. You can set up with Kartra. They use a little different terminology. You can have multiple calendars, and when you go to set up a calendar, the first thing Kartra asks you is what type of calendar do you want. The consultant model is probably what most of you use, and that's where basically your users define their preferred time, and it's usually just a one-off type. Okay, so they sign up on your calendar, you get the reoccurring meetings and so forth. They also have what they call a reoccurring class model. So if somebody signed up for 8 sessions on some of my VIP coaching sessions, they could sign up here. And then, for 8 weeks, they can lock into my calendar. A gym model is more of a which instructor do you want? Debbie teaches on Monday and Wednesday, and Betty teaches on Tuesday, Thursday. It's, from 2 to 4, things like that. And then they also have a live event model. Okay. And again, I'm not going to go real deep, but I'll just get in here for a quick second. With Kartra, I would say the platform is probably more visually oriented. Everything in Kartra, you kind of follow the dots all the way through. And then at the end, you have a completed calendar set up. It will walk you through, walk you through with sending out the confirmation email, the reminders, the automations, and all of that. And then there's different like branding looks that you can have with your calendar, all of that kind of stuff. All right. So that's just a little preview inside of that. So let me stop sharing my screen here and bring this back, maybe. Okay. So that's it for today. The Tech Tuesday is all about making sure that you have a calendar connected. I love Google. You can use Outlook. But the whole idea is you want to create that system so that you streamline your business, right? You want to make it easy. You don't want to jump back and forth just trying to get somebody on your calendar. You want to look professional, and you want to automate as much as you can. So instead of worrying about connecting people, oh, did I send them the Zoom link? What did I do? Whenever I set up this automation for my clients, we write out all of the emails, we embed the Zoom link. So once somebody gets on my calendar, it's done. I don't have to worry about anything. All of that automation works in the background. So I hope this was useful. Hope it was fun for you. If you have questions, if you ever need to have a quick coffee chat, make sure that you reach out to me. If you here in the group, just send me a direct message or just reach out anytime, and we'll have a chat and see how I can help you. All right. Glad you joined me. And if you watch on replay, make sure that you let me know. Take care.